Hey, it's Sharon here from Content Sparks, and in this video I'm going to take you on a little tour inside the actual contents you'll download when you purchase a license to our course called Content Management Bootcamp. So I'm going to jump straight into the folders here, and when you purchase a license, what you'll get, this is for the Blaze package, the full package, you'll see a student materials folder, an instructor materials folder, and the lead generation materials. And I'll walk through each one of those, but basically the student materials are for your students. They have everything they need to learn all the topics covered in Content Management Bootcamp, and I'll go through each of those. The instructor materials are there to help you teach in any format you want, because there's a slideshow, so you can do videos and live presentations and online courses, workshops, things like that. And then the lead generation materials are there to help you actually attract students to your course, build a list initially of people interested in the topic, and then convert them to paying students. So let's jump into the student materials first. And you'll see that there's a course book that has the core information and instructions for different action steps so that people implement what they learn. There's a folder that's called Action Guide, Inventory Calendar. That's because there's not just an action guide in there, but also a spreadsheet that has a couple tabs, and I'll show you those. There's a cheat sheet. These are handy reference sheets that summarize each module. Some graphics, an overview infographic of the whole course, nice for a bird's eye view, and slides handout that go with those instructor materials. So let's look at the course book first, since that is the core information. So I'll open that one up, and you can see that it's all laid out nicely, ready for you to brand, place for your logo. You can apply other styles and stuff. This is in Word, but you can open it in other word processing software. There's a table of contents here where you can see all the modules, and those modules are listed on this page. You'll see a description of each one, so I won't go into details on that, but you'll see also in the footer a place to put your company name and your logo. And then the learning objectives are in here. Those do correspond with each one of the modules. So you have the modules descriptions, but basically what you're going to be teaching people, and obviously learning yourself, is how to clarify those core areas of expertise you want to be known for, make an inventory of your unpublished content initially. So those are the types of things that are just sitting on your computer in the cloud and not being used. That's where that content inventory spreadsheet comes in initially. They'll also take a look at online content, so other things that are already published, make sure they're in line with those core areas of expertise. We're going to ensure that you have the right tracking methods in place so you can actually see how the content is performing. Plan some priorities for managing content efficiently, especially looking at things like your cornerstone content, those key epic pieces of content that you drive the most traffic to. Make sure that their content is aligned with paid offers and free offers, so everything should have a purpose and be in line with those goals. Then you also want to get the most visibility for any content, so you should be looking at what's worth updating or repurposing. And also making sure things are optimized for SEO so that people can find it. We also talk in here, and you'll be teaching about how to create different opportunities for series of content that really increase engagement. So I'm just kind of scrolling down through here through the learning objectives. The last ones are you walk people through actually creating a step-by-step process for streamlined content creation so that you're as efficient as possible. And again, this spreadsheet comes in here, the inventory calendar. Your students, you are going to create a calendar or timeline for creating and planning out the key pieces of content for the next 3 months, whether it's new content to create, to update, or to repurpose. So make sure it's something realistic, bring everything together from the course, and finally do some planning. So there's your quick course overview, but you can see it all in the course. You can see that there's a place at the end of each module where there are key takeaways from the module and then the action steps that they need to do, and that they can use that action guide and inventory for that spreadsheet. So let me hop over to that now so that you can get a better feel of how they fit together. So that was the course book, and then here's that action guide folder. So the action guide itself is, I'll open this up as well, matches up with the modules, again laid out the same so that you can brand it, and then there are things that match up with all the action steps in each module, a place for people to start implementing what they learn right away. And that spreadsheet I was talking about, which I actually don't need to open up because you can see it in the preview pane, but it's the first tab. You see at the bottom in Excel, there's always these tabs, but the content inventory is where they'll actually look at things they have on their computer, in the cloud, how it's organized by area of expertise. Your students might just have one main area of expertise that they focus on, that's fine, and then they divide it up by topics. If they have more than one, we say maximum 3, it's easy to copy these tabs over and create more than one. If you need help with that kind of thing, you can always contact me, but it's pretty basic. We don't make it too complicated. It's basic spreadsheet management. And then the other tab in here, you'll see first there are places to fill in key information that they should be tracking for their content. Things like where it is in the first place, when it was published, what the goal is, what type of content it is. For instance, is it cornerstone? Is it part of a series? What format is it in? What keywords is the content focused on? Who's the author if they have different authors? Updates, call to action. Importantly, what it's related to in terms of a lead magnet or offer, things like that. So there's places for all these details. You can easily customize it for your audience as well. And then that other tab on here I mentioned is the content calendar. So here there's a place for them to plan 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. We have 3 sections here. And just plan a few pieces of content around their areas of expertise, and the same sort of columns here as the inventory, so that when something is published, they can copy that information back over to the inventory. So I've gone into a little more detail than I planned on that. So let's just plow through the rest here. The cheat sheet I mentioned is a really nice, handy overview. You can break this up so that there's one summary of each module. Just make it a PDF download. People love these. Also gives you a nice quick overview of what's in the course. And then you have some graphics. You got a peek at these in the course book. They're also in the slides. They're made in PowerPoint, so they're easy to edit and nice visual reminders. They also snazz up the workbook or the course book a little bit, and the slides. This overview infographic I mentioned is a visual, one big picture of all the different modules and key sections in the course. So again, you can use this even as a reference when you're teaching this, to show where people are in the process. And then the last thing in here is a handout of the slides. So if you do get the full package with the slides, the instructor materials, everything, you'll get these slides handout so that you can give them to your students, and they don't have to be copying down what you're saying if you're doing this live. They can just take notes. So that's everything in the student materials. That is the core part of the course. Now the instructor materials, as I said, are to help you teach the course. So you have a slideshow, which I will open up, and you can use this to create video, to do live presentations for webinars, things like that. Break it up if you're doing an online course and create it in separate modules with separate videos. But again, you can see it's easy to brand. We've kept it generic. All you do is apply your design. So if you're in PowerPoint, you're going to go into design and apply preferably your branded one. For instance, here you can see we saved one of our own that we apply to any slide presentation. So that is the key there for branding. And then underneath each slide, you'll see there are speaker notes. And this is text from the course book that you can use to guide your video script or your presentation. You just want to not use your own wording and use this as your guide, but then you don't have to think too hard about what you're going to say. And there's places to remind you to ask questions if you're doing it live, give people directions on the activities, debrief an activity if you're doing it live, and then of course, as you see, it's divided up into modules so that you can break it up into separate video too. So that's the core part of the instructor materials. We've also given you an implementation guide that has some instructions, and we put those speaker notes into a Word document also to make it easy if you like to use it that way. There's an evaluation form that you can hand out after your course for getting feedback from your students and improving your course. Some follow-up emails, and what this is, 5 different emails that you can use, send out to your students after the course is finished, keep in touch with them, reinforce their learning, give them some extra tips. You can see we've left a place here for you to put your email system, your autoresponder system's tag for first name, and then left you a place to write your personal introduction, because you should always personalize these. And make sure you always include a call to action on any email, even if it's to go look at some blog posts you have. So that's just an extra note there. And then the last things here are some links to research sources that we used when creating the course, so you can use them to brush up your own knowledge. And there's things like, this is another handy thing I'll open, a list of content. So this is helpful if you're not sure what you actually have in this whole package. This is almost like your table of contents. So take a look at that, and you'll see all the modules there and the learning objectives. And then the other things are curriculum. You'll also see that on this page. I'm not going to go into that, but it's some suggested courses that would go well if you do want to build a longer series, like a 12-part series, and some other instructions in here and tips. And then the last folder here is the lead generation materials. And as I said, you want to use this to build a list of people who are interested in your topic. And actually, let me give you a quick overview first here. So you have a lead magnet or opt-in report in a report format. Then we've also given it to you in a cheat sheet format. So similar to the course book with its cheat sheet version, this is the summarized short version. There's a slideshow that you could use for a webinar. And then there's some follow-up emails for nurturing relationships, some blog posts for driving traffic to your opt-in pages, your sales pages, an infographic to share on social media, and then some tweets that are really tips you can use on any social media. So I'll give you that quick look at each. The opt-in report is boost your content marketing results with these 4 steps. So this would be a higher level of what you'll cover in the boot camp to get them interested in the topic, give them some helpful information to get started, but then you want to drive them towards your course where they'll get more information and really go deeper. So you can see there's also next steps after each of these steps in the report. So people do take action, but you're going to want to push them towards that course. And there's a place to put that call to action at the end. And then, as I said, there's also this in a cheat sheet format. So open that up. So similar to the other, only of course it's shorter, but some people like to have this at a higher level and not go through a report. It's also handy if you decide to use the slideshow, which I'll also show you, and do some sort of webinar. You can use the cheat sheet as a handout at the end. So, something to encourage people to stay to the end. So that's really useful. And I'll give you a peek at those emails. You can see there's 7 of them. The first one is to send your download link, or if you're doing something like a webinar, you would just replace that with information about the webinar. And then there's some more tips that are all related to the report. So here you're giving value, nurturing the relationship. And then in the last email is when you really want to promote your course more. And in that case, it's almost like a little bit of a sales letter to push them to your sales page. And you'll just want to add any information in here that's particular to your course in whatever format you decide to put it in. So this is almost like a mini sales letter that you're going to use to push people to your sales page after the opt-in report. Blog posts, again, there's 5 of these, so you'll just put these on your blog, edit them, add some more to it, because if it is published on your blog, you're going to want to make it a little more unique by adding to it and rewriting a bit. Or you could even use these as the basis for emails. The infographic is also similar as information related to the report, but you can share it everywhere. And those tweets I mentioned, I'll just show you those. You can see that we've kept them relatively short, so there's room for you to add to them or just add a link and room for retweets, but also they're great for putting on an image and sharing on social media that way, because they're mostly tips that are related to the topic. And that is everything. So again, there's student materials, instructor materials, lead generation materials, three folders of content that all make up a course kit that you can use to build your own funnel and multimedia, online course, live course, whatever it is that you need to grow your business. Let me know if you have any questions. Take care.